Hello and welcome to Navigating to Success. I'm Focal Point Business Coach Jeff Carlton, and I am joined today by Alexandra Kozub. 406 Strategic Solutions is her company, and super excited. Welcome, Alexandra.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
You bet. Exciting to have a nearby fellow Montanan, relatively new business, but a great wealth of experience. So tell us about 406 Strategic Solutions or
Yeah,
Strategic
so
Communication.
no worries. I started this company a few years ago after the COVID pandemic, or I guess kind of at the tail end of the COVID pandemic, just realizing that, I wanted to set off on my own. I had built quite a few skills in the workforce that I thought, let's try this on my own. Um, Yeah, it's been a fun adventure just doing different communication services for businesses. So that includes everything from trainings and speech writing to, writing blog content. Anything communication wise that your business needs is kind of what I try and help people with.
Now, is it specific to marketing or is it all over the map? Any kind of messaging?
It's really a mix, and that's why I called it strategic communications, because it's not PR and it's not marketing. It's really a mix of both. Whatever communication needs your business has, those kind of fall into two different realms, right? Usually PR and marketing, and you have to hire two different companies to get both. And so this kind of combines them into one, so that it's more like a one-stop shop.
So on the so what you actually deliver can be a number of different products, but it's usually some kind of a digital document that comes in. Any web service type support or anything like that?
So it's really, I try and tell people it's just the content part. So if you need help with writing your website content, I can absolutely help with that. But say, for example, you want to redo your website, or even just get that content posted on the website. That's more for a back end developer. And so I usually hand people off at that point, and I can help people with finding resources, for other people to help them in those fields. But yeah, I'm just on really on content.
Okay, we'll come back to that because the criticality of strategic partnerships, I think is a good topic as well. So, is it just you, or how big is 406?
So I work with quite a lot of different contractors. I am the only employee, but I hire other people out to help me with different parts of the business. So, for example, a lot of the blog content writing, I am the editor, but I actually have others help me with writing the blog content itself.
So, um, are they W-9 1099 employees for you, or are they just contractors?
Yeah,
Or
so actually what I have done is I do all of it through Upwork for finding people to help me out. So they kind of deal with the back end accounting side of it, which is really nice for me. So I don't really have to delve into that too much. And the other great thing about that is, communication's easy, and I've hired friends on there as well. And so it's been a good platform for me to find people and easily pay them, and just make the process pretty simple. So
So let's go back to strategic partnerships and the outsourcing. When you go to somebody like a web developer, somebody that's going to platform on social media, the content that you've created, um, do you have formal or informal agreements with those people?
I keep it pretty easy with the people that I have connections with. I just ask that they refer me as well. So generally how it works is, we're not paying referral fees. It's just, hey, if you don't mind referring me when you have work that falls in the content area and arena, then I can also, get you work when you need in these other arenas, whatever it may be that's your specialty.
No, and I think that's an important thing that a lot of people don't do is ask for those referrals. It's Nobody brings you a cheeseburger unless you order it one. So ask for the referrals, folks. I mean, we're in business to stay in business. So ask each other for help. Don't walk this road alone. Um, so how busy are you? I mean, what's your work-life balance like?
I have a 6-month-old baby who stays with me full time now. So it's it's actually been really nice owning my own business for that reason because I have flexibility. So when she goes to bed at night, she's a grandma. She likes sleeping from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. I work. And then when she naps during the day, she generally takes 3 hours of naps. So I can usually get about 7 hours of work done a day. And then my husband works rotational work. So, when he's home, he can take her for the day and I can work and catch up on things if I need to. I also work wildland fire in the summer. I contract with the federal government to do public information for them. And so he helps out when I have work, doing that for those are 16-hour days a lot of the time.
Right. So is that through Forest Service?
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is.
Nancy? Okay. Yeah. If I had to give you one piece of advice, it's go buy a lottery ticket because if you have a baby that sleeps from 10 to 6 and 3 hours a day, I don't know where you found the recipe for the secret sauce, but that was not my experience with two little girls. I can tell you that.
I tell
Um,
people it matters who you marry, right? Because my husband has a sleeping issue where he likes sleeping all the time, and my baby has inherited it. Which before we had a baby, I was like, oh, this is awful. He sleeps all the time. But now I'm like, this is great. She inherited this gene and she sleeps all the time. He sleeps all the time.
and it's interesting how you adapted and found a business niche that you could fit into that fit your lifestyle as opposed to forcing your lifestyle around the business that you forced yourself into. And I think that's a unique part of a entrepreneurial journey is to put yourself into a situation that works for you so that you don't work for it. Um,
Exactly. It's
so
one of the best things about it is you can really set your own schedule. If I want more work, I take on more clients. If I've got too much work, sometimes I'll raise my rates or sometimes I'll just be like, I'm not taking any new clients at this point. So it's really nice having that flexibility and knowing that, that can change and that's fine. I can, take on more work when I'm ready, or I can, take a little bit off as well when I need to.
so in a fairly talent rich environment, if I can postulate that, how do you reach out and get to your clients? What is your strategy for client acquisition?
I let clients find me. And it didn't start that way. Obviously, with starting a business, I had to, go out there and ask people and, really pitch myself. And it was a lot of hours of pitching myself. And I try and remind people of that when they're starting a business. Like, don't expect to make money that first year. Just really get your name out there, talk to people, underbid yourself a little bit because you can raise your rates later once they know, how great you are to work with. And then having a little bit of a backup is a good idea too. If you don't have a huge rainy day fund, I knew that I could rely on wildland fire in the summers, if I needed to. So I wasn't incredibly concerned about making a bunch of money that first year or two. And then, when things took off, it's like, okay, I can spend less time working in the summers.
Fantastic. It's no, that's great. So you let clientele find you. Who's your primary source? Social media? Is it LinkedIn, website? Um, what is it?
I worked pretty hard on building up my website. So that's helped quite a bit. I do monthly blog posts on my own website. And then, a big part of my time when I'm content writing or having people content write for me is really focusing on that search engine optimization so that we're getting the keywords in there that we need. That helps for my own business. If anyone searches, communications, PR, marketing in Montana or elsewhere as well, oftentimes they'll find me. So that's a big part of it. And then also word of mouth. I'll work with one client and they're like, hey, my buddy, owns a company and he's looking for help with this or that. So that's another way that I find clients as well.
I think the referral network is extremely powerful with anyone once you're based. Now, you cranked up operations in 2021.
Yes. Yes. I think I got started with making the business in 2020, right around the COVID time. And then, I was working full time on the COVID response as, I was the communication manager for the state of Montana during that contracting with the Department of Emergency Services. So I was doing that and I was like, I don't have time quite yet to start a business. And once that started to slow down, I was able to get back on it and start it in 2021.
That was pretty brave because nobody knew what the landscape looked like um, coming out of the pandemic in 2021. We knew we were going to have to keep working. We just didn't know, had no idea how much money we were going to make. So hats off to you for just jumping in the deep end of the pool and going for it. Um, it's quite admirable in my opinion. Um, so give me a glimpse into your future. Where do you want to stay a solopreneur with some outsourced contractors, or are you looking to bring anybody else on full time in the next 1 to 3 years?
I've kind of gone back and forth with that. So growing up, my dad always owned businesses. And I saw that some of the hardest part of being a business owner is employees. And not having them and working with contractors has been great for me because, we'll do like, hey, can you work on this for me for this month? And then if it doesn't work out, it's fine. We're done. And then if it's great, we keep going and I give them more work. And that works out really well for me. So I have a feeling I'd like to stick with, hiring contractors as needed, and kind of go on that route. We'll see how much I scale as well. That'll make a difference. But I'm trying to keep it smaller at this point, keeping it manageable, not having to do, too much people management, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you talk about scaling, there's a theory out there that scalability can't, you're not scalable if the business depends on the business owner. Um, so it's an interesting for those of us that are solopreneurs of how would we potentially scale ourselves. And I definitely get that in the agility and flexibility of being uh, a sole owner. Other than the frequent HR complaints, um, I'm
That's
kidding.
true. I
There's
have a lot
only
of
one
problems
employee.
controlling myself. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
like it was funny after I had a baby, I was like, I need to get back to work. And I was like, you need to slow down. Like I'm having these conversations with myself back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think that is an under uh talked about thing on LinkedIn. I've had several conversations with people where LinkedIn and Facebook are everybody's greatest hits. And people don't talk about those tough rainy days often enough where you are having those conflictory conversations with yourself about what is my next best step. So I always tell people, encourage people, reach out and find a fellow business owner, find a business coach. I know a guy um, that can help you through. So what's been your biggest challenge, or what is your biggest challenge today um, in in your entrepreneurial journey?
Suppose it's what we were just talking about with the scalability part, trying to figure out if I want to grow, how big I want to grow, if I'm happy with where the business is at right now. I think that has been kind of the biggest, decisions I have to think about anytime a new client reaches out to me and I have to think about, do I have contractors that can help me out with this project? Is it something I can take on? Kind of working through those scenarios of, okay, like you said, when you're a solo entrepreneur, you need to figure out, like, do I need to hire a manager? How would I, go about that and find someone who can take the reins if I need them to at certain points.
All right. Well, as we wrap this up, what is your best piece of advice for an aspiring entrepreneur or someone in their early months of starting their business?
I would say start earlier than you want to. Like, don't, wait until the last day of your job or, wait until you don't have any income coming in. I think it's better to get an early start and really work on, building those skills and finding those networks and working with the people that you need to grow your business. And then when you're finally ready to cut ties with the job you have or the main sources of income that you have beyond your business that you're starting, you already feel comfortable. You're like, I'm already making money in this. This is going well. And I'm ready to go.
No, I couldn't agree more. You don't know what you don't know. Unconscious incompetence is the first stage of learning. And I promise you, those first 6 months, you can't even imagine the things that you don't know, but you'll find them out. Find them out.
It's absolutely true. Yeah.
All right. Well, for everybody that joined us on this episode, I hope you found it enjoyable. I certainly did. I really enjoyed. Alexandra, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. This is great.
Any parting shots before we sign off with this episode?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. Yeah. Thanks for having me on and chatting. And if
Um,
people have any questions, they
your-
can totally reach out.
what? Yeah. Tell everyone your website. How do they find you?
Yeah, so my website is 406strategiccommunications.com. And so that's probably the best way to find me. I'm also on LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to reach out. There's a contact us page on my website. So that's another great way to reach out and get in contact with me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Navigating to Success.